Welcome to Bank On It, Conversations with First Seacoast Bank. Today's topic, preparing for home ownership. I'm your host, Chris Hislop, and here with me today is Cindy Ward, a mortgage loan officer from First Seacoast Bank.
I've been with First Seacoast Bank for 7 years. I've been in the business for over 25 years now. I love the whole idea of getting first-time home buyers into their first home because my parents never owned their first home. My dad ended up passing away before he could buy that first house.
Sorry to hear that. So what do you appreciate about your day-to-day? What do you appreciate about helping people figure out their path to home ownership?
One of the things about First Seacoast Bank is that they're really customer service orientated. So for me to stop my day and not just look for a sale, but to really help somebody get through whatever issue they need to get through.
What are some common issues that you see in your day-to-day?
Well, just the other day, we had somebody that their line of credit is coming to the end, and they didn't know whether they should renew it or not. Mm-hmm. So I sat down and went through the options with them, and they decided that taking the payment and continuing on with what they have now was the best option for them.
Cool. And what happens if you get into the weird situation where there's no more credit to be had? How do you walk people through some of the challenges of applying for credit, re-upping credit, etc.?
So when I first meet with somebody, it's not just about credit, is it? It's there's a whole bunch of aspects, but credit is one of them. We want to look at a budget. We want them to have some knowledge of what they can afford. Mm-hmm. We want their credit in good standings as well, mm-hmm. but you can work on both of those at the same time.
Yeah, so, if somebody has a solid enough credit score, things are looking good, how do you advise people prepare for shopping for their first home mortgage? It's simple for someone like me who, when I bought my first home, was like, oh, I don't have a dime to my name. I have decent credit, but I don't have a dime to my name. I started looking around. I saw, government loans where I didn't have to put money down. Mm-hmm. I have no idea if those exist anymore. This was...
Of course they do.
All right, excellent. So can you walk us through some of those scenarios? How do you help people that are into this for the first time? They may or may not know the options that are available to them. What are some experiences that you've had with people on different ends of the spectrum? Because I'm sure there are people that come in and they've been saving for a decade or more to put a down payment on a home purchase. And I'm sure there are people that were like me that didn't have a dime but knew that they wanted to buy a house.
Yes, we see both of those scenarios quite a bit. And with the ones that haven't saved anything yet, we try to get them prepared. How much do they need to save? Met with a gentleman a little bit ago, and he had $2,000 saved at that point. And he was working on the side, and all his side money was going into a fund where he was going to use those funds for a down payment and closing cost. And he thought that the rural development program, which you're mentioning, 100% financing, would work best for him. He was educated because he did the housing partnership seminar for first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. But there are people that come in that don't know that we do offer 100% financing. Mm-hmm. And then there's New Hampshire Housing as well, mm-hmm. where they offer grant programs. So, how much of a grant do you need? Those grants have to be paid back. Mm-hmm. Currently. So, just because you're taking the money, it's a higher rate. Do you really need those funds? We need to analyze the whole picture mm-hmm. to see what program works best for them.
Mm-hmm. And how do you educate well, let's go with first-time home buyers. Like, how do you educate them on those pieces and parts? Like, if you borrow from, or if you're granted money from New Hampshire Housing, I know that they have their, up to $15,000, closing cost program or whatever.
Down payment, closing cost, yes.
Yep. And then obviously you're trying to get, a traditional mortgage, et cetera. Like, are those payments lumped in together at the end of the day, or are they paying on two separate items at the same time?
They're lumped in together.
Yeah.
And so New Hampshire Housing offers a little bit higher of a rate for those. But if you refinance or when you go to pay off the mortgage, that those funds are given back to them so that they can give them to somebody else.
And how do you help people figure? Oh, go ahead.
So we want to look at payments, right? We want to look at what payment works best for you. Do you really need the money? Can you just do 3% down or 100% financing without taking any of those?
Sure.
So let's look at a wide variety of programs because there's a lot of first-time homebuyer programs out there. First Seacoast Bank has its own. We have partnered with a mortgage insurance company, and the mortgage insurance is quite low compared to others. So that helps with the monthly payment and what you can afford as well.
Can you expound on that a little bit more for someone that might not know what that means?
Mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
If you don't have 20% down or not going through rural development, mortgage insurance is there to protect the lender. Typically, you want 20% down, but you don't need 20% down. Mortgage insurance will pick up and help out with the risk of not having the 20%.
We're taking a quick pause to bring you What's in Your Wallet. All right, Cindy, we're jumping into a segment called What's in Your Wallet, or app in parentheses. What's something that you can tell the listener here that's unique that you carry in your pocketbook, or app on your phone that is of interest?
I have my passport in my purse so that if anybody says, let's go here, I'm ready.
Ready to go.
Yeah. All you need is a passport.
Nice.
You buy everything else later.
Do you find that your work these days is more challenging than it was maybe pre-pandemic when the housing market was a little bit more affordable?
Everybody has an unusual circumstance these days. And it's just working through those.
How do you help people understand budgets? I know before we started the episode, we were joking about, do people actually realize how much they're spending on a cup of coffee every day? Like, how do you get people to hone in on their daily expenditures to put them in better position to get their first mortgage? Or it doesn't have to necessarily be the first mortgage.
I can't change people's lifestyle. I can point it out, right? And sometimes by pointing it out, they understand where their money's going. I mean, if you have a priority of buying a house, if the priority isn't a coffee, it's the house.
So what do you, but like in those moments, it's kind of like, people get very rooted in routine, right? So if someone's so used to going to Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or whatever it is every single day to buy their coffee, it seems silly, but are you like, maybe you should try making your own pot of coffee?
No, I'm not going to say that to them.
Okay.
But I am going to.
I might.
I am going to go through their bank statement and say, you're spending money here and you're spending money there. This is money that could go towards a down payment. It could go towards your monthly payment for the house. How are we going to fix this?
Yeah. What are some I'm curious for my own knowledge. I know what I'm guilty of spending money sillily, is that a word? What are some common things that people are spending money on outside of coffee that are just sort of, unnecessary?
Anything that needs to be replaced, they think needs to be replaced, but really doesn't need to be replaced yet. Changing out your curtains, just expenses that you really don't need but you want. So you got to get a mindset of this. I want to buy a house. I need to buy a house, right? And you don't need all of these other things that you're buying every month because it's preventing you from getting in a house.
Are you ever challenged by somebody that just can't seem to kick the bad habits? I mean, at the end of the day, your job is to say,
Oh,
yes
yeah,
or
I got
no.
him in a house.
Yeah.
We hold that mortgage. I see what's going on all the time. I talk to them. I mean, it was a situation where they got everything together for a while. They got into the house and they went back to spending what they want to spend on. And we worked really hard getting them into that house.
Sure.
But it's hard to change our habits.
Yeah.
And we do have to change our habits. Everything for a while just was so easy to get.
Yeah, I'm still trying to change my habits, and I've been in my house for 10 years. All right, Cindy. So what are some apps or, things you might recommend for somebody that's prospectively looking for a mortgage to use to help them understand and stick to budgets?
There's quite a few apps online, so you can go ahead and look at apps that work for you for budgets. And it takes everything into consideration when you're looking at your budget. So not just your housing payment, utilities, car payments, student loans, credit cards, those types of things, but it takes in what you're spending your money on a day-to-day basis. Where's your money going? Well, a bank statement shows me what you're spending your money on. I can go through your bank statement and help, but that app is so much better. It will show you exactly where you're spending your money. And if it's on going out to eat and going to an amusement park every other weekend, maybe those are the things that you could give up a little bit. Not saying change your whole life, but just change it a little bit. Modify it a little bit. Just baby steps getting you into the home.
Sure. Has anybody that you've worked with been genuinely blown away by learning the amount of money that they spend on?
Well, I do say that people are paying X amount for rent, and they think that they can pay, let's say it's $1,800 a month they're paying for rent, which is really quite good. They think that they can spend $2,500 a month. Well, where's that $700 going now? Right? You should be taking that $700 and banking it every month. If we could see that, we know you can pay the $2,500 a month, right?
In listening to you speak, it sounds like you have, you develop personal relationships with some of the people that you work with, which I think is different when you think about a consumer that applies for a loan online with a Rocket Mortgage or whatever the site may be. Can you speak a little bit about to the experience a consumer might feel in dealing with First Seacoast Bank versus an online entity or a bigger corporate bank where you might just feel like a number?
Well, I can sit and meet with you. Who are you going to sit with there? I can go through it, right? I'm there through the process. I'm working for the bank. So if they need to contact me after they get into their mortgage, something's going on, we can help them.
Rooted in the sentiment of hindsight being 2020, let's get into Banking Time Machine. Our next segment is banking time machine.
Okay.
What's something that you know now that you wish you know then? And you're revisiting Cindy of the past. What's something that you could have done to help with present Cindy?
Well, when I was younger, I didn't think that it was a big deal to have a late payment. You just don't know. The car payment has a due date. What does that due date really mean? Who cares, right? When you're young, you just go on and pay it whenever. But that doesn't help.
Does it hurt?
Well, it hurts you totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while to recover from those types of things. You end up paying higher rates for money that you have to borrow later in life.
Yep, no, that's a good point. All right, Cindy. So we've talked a lot about just standard, typical mortgage loans. I'm curious, if somebody has a hard time finding that home or finding their way into that mortgage loan, what are some other options that they can explore?
It's true. It's a really tough market these days. So what people have been doing is finding a piece of land and building something that they can afford. And that the land prices have gone up tremendously as well. So that is getting a little bit tougher to do, but it's still doable if you find the right piece of land. Or you can find a home that isn't in such great shape. And I'm telling you, people look at houses all the time and pass over the home that needs a lot of work. But what you need to do is go in there with an open mind and say, this needs to be repaired. It would cost X amount of money to repair that. This needs to be updated. How much money do I need to update this? How much money is the total budget you think with this house? And if you add that on top of the purchase price, is that affordable to you? Those both are construction loans in our book. We can go up to 97% on a construction loan. That is unheard of for any lenders at all.
I wish I had you on my team, Cindy, when I was looking for homes, because I love older style, like farmhouses. I love
me too.
Yeah, they're unique, right? They have a vibe, as the kids say. And I can remember in exploring properties with my realtor, he brought us to a handful of old farmhouses, and at one point he said, "Chris, are you a handy guy?" And I like to think that I can YouTube something and figure it out. But my wife did the speaking for me and said, no, he is not. And he goes, okay, I'm going to stop showing you these houses then. I hadn't really considered that there was another financial way of looking at that and trying to figure it out outside of me literally just hammer and nailing my way through, disaster probably. Yeah. So is there a different mindset that needs to be had for someone that's seeking a construction loan versus your standard mortgage loan, or is it all pretty similar and, stop buying those cups of coffee?
It is very similar. It is very similar. But at the same time, you have to have somebody that's willing to have scariness, I guess, in their life, because it is a little scary. You have to pick out everything that you need ahead of time so that the budget is there. You're not overspending on one aspect or another. Things are expensive it's expensive to replace a bathroom these days. What, $25,000 to replace a bathroom?
Oof.
Yeah. So, you have to go in and look at things honestly and say, okay, am I willing to spend this much money? And what is the value of the house when everything's said and done? Your real estate agent can help you with those aspects. And we can help you with the financing. A piece of land. Okay, great. Now you have to find a general contractor to build the house, right? So you should be, if land is something that you think that building is, you should be talking to a general contractor at the same time that you're looking at the land, so that the land comes up and you have a budget for your house that you want to build. And those tiny houses go up to 1,200 square feet these days. So I think that's a pretty good size house to start out with.
Sure, absolutely. I'm curious, is there, when you think about any sort of business transaction, different industries have their busy seasons. When it comes to construction loans and the idea of building your own house, is there a better time of year to start getting the wheels turning on that process, or is it all sort of the same to you? You get your money in line and then build it when the snow clears. I mean, what is it like for you? What's the best time of year for people to start?
Well, it depends on where you're at with your construction. Do you own the land? Because if you own the land, you can get all your plans together so that you can start in the spring. Everybody wants to start in the spring. So not everybody can start in the spring. And so people that, oh, it's spring, I'm going to start working on my stuff now. Well, they're not ready until fall. Most people that I work with for construction take a year to get everything together.
Yeah, so there's
builders are busy these
Sure,
days
yeah.
too. So you're not going to find a builder right away that can get you a budget for a house that you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Takes some time.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Bank on It, Conversations with First Seacoast Bank. I'd like to thank my guest, Cindy Ward, for offering up her thoughts today about preparing for home ownership. First Seacoast Bank is member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. For more information, visit www.firstseacoastbank.com.